There's more news on Absolute Batman. We're going to look at some new pages that have been released and talk about some details that you may not be aware of. And finally, look at some character designs that you may or may not have seen and some of the leaked pages from a few weeks ago. So the pages look great. No surprise there. Nick Dragata, we knew they were going to look good. The one issue is maybe this button-nosed Bruce is kind of strange looking. So here he is hanging out with his dad, the teacher, Thomas Wayne. They're at the zoo. They're on a field trip. And of course, this zoo has a bat exhibit. And he seems kind of like, Bruce kind of looks like almost a Peter Parker kind of guy. He's off on his own, interested in the exhibit, maybe about to get bitten by a radioactive bat. I don't know, maybe he has a lot of friends. Maybe I'm reading too much into this one panel. Then we see a gun. And it's not an AR-15, which I think a lot of people may have expected because Scott Snyder's talked a lot about this being sort of a reflection of contemporary issues. And that's one that's in the forefront of the public consciousness right now. I think it's probably a better idea not to do that. First of all, anytime you do something like this where you're changing a character, you know you're going to piss off 50% of the fans anyway, just because you're changing anything. And I saw where somebody else who had read the first issue mentioned that they thought it was going to be a school shoot, which again, that is at the forefront of the public consciousness, but would have been pretty dark and very political. Not that it hadn't been done before, like when Peter Parker was teaching high school. So there's a gun, a pistol. It looks like just one guy. Why is he robbing the zoo? Is he robbing the zoo? He's in the zoo. He's got a gun. We don't know why. Is it Oswald Cobblepot raiding the Puffin exhibit? Maybe. We'll just have to see. Next, we see Alfred looking a little different than we're used to. I don't know what you call this hairstyle he's got going on. Kind of looks like he's channeling the dude from The Big Lebowski or something. And we see, first of all, Gotham's looking pretty run down. Alfred says it's lost its heart. And we start to get the sense that some things are going to be different in this universe. It's not just that Thomas Wayne isn't a billionaire. Alfred apparently has done some things that he is not proud of in the Afghanistan war. And from what I understand, while I'm sure he'll be teaching Batman some things that he learned from MI6, because this Batman's going to be more of a guerrilla fighter type. It sounds like Bruce is also going to influence Alfred with Bruce's moral code, his ideals sort of rubbing off on Alfred and maybe helping him find some kind of redemption. Oh, and apparently Alfred is in town for maybe a nefarious purpose. Apparently he doesn't think Gotham is going to like it. Now, if you haven't been staying up to date on the all-in side of things, this may be considered a spoiler, but I'll give you a moment to close your ears and say that the way this universe came about, the reason that it's powered by so-called dark side energy is because Darkseid sacrificed himself to create a world in his image. And that world is the absolute universe where all of our favorite heroes have none of the advantages we're used to seeing them with. Now let's take a look at those character designs. This art to me is very reminiscent of like Johnny Quest, Venture Brothers more recently, obviously playing off Johnny Quest. And I love that. I've always thought that that art style is so awesome. And you can see it in the Black Mask's mask, the way that skull is drawn. And then there are other elements that are great too, like you wouldn't see this in Johnny Quest, I don't think, but the way that he's holding these Uzis or whatever these submachine guns are looks really cool. Those are just the little things that sometimes you don't think about. Like you can just draw out what's happening and that's going to help tell the story and that's going to be enjoyable. But for these artists who can really figure out how to add these little details, I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm crazy, but just the way he's got these got him. I just think the way he's holding these, it seems much more dynamic. It's like with an animation. I don't know the exact terminology, but anytime you have somebody in there throwing a ball, you want to exaggerate it. So like first they're going to come way back to throw it. Not like if I were really going to throw it, I might just be like, but in a cartoon, be like, oh, and you're going to stretch me out, like I'm made out of silly putty and I'm going to overextend. You know what I mean? You always want to start out with this exaggerated wind up. And that, to me, it seems like that's kind of what's happening here. He's got the guns pulled back and he's about to hold these Uzis sideways like an idiot because I don't think that would really be very effective. But it looks cool. And that's all I'm really looking for in my comic book art. And then we got Thicc Boi Batman with his throwing knife ears. And yes, that's dumb. But I have always liked the really exaggerated pointy ears. I kind of like the extreme in either way. I also really like, like the little Frank Miller short ears. I think these really like almost German expressionist long ears look cool too. And usually it's like, well, why are they so long? Why would that realistically, I don't think you'd do that. And how would you even make them stand up? Is he putting like little wire hangers, like building out these weird little ears? But now it makes sense. They're knives. And then we've got the axe, the logo, the chest plate that becomes an axe, which physically I don't understand. First of all, how are you closing your arms? I mean, this guy, he's a huge guy. He's strong. He's got to have look, you could see even like, well, no, you can't. Can you see that? Look, even my pecs are moving and I don't even have muscles. So you imagine you're this enormous Batman. I just wouldn't think that he'd have the mobility he would need. And then there's the fact that Batman's logo already looked like an axe. So why'd you change it? Maybe the sharp edges would have been more likely to cut into his boobs, his pecs, his dark pillows. I don't know. I do think that we should reserve judgment, even though I won't, because I'm making YouTube videos. I'm not going to reserve judgment in a YouTube video. But I do know there have been so many times, whether it's a casting choice in a movie, a plot point, or anything, where I hear about it and I'm like, oh man, that's going to be dumb. And then I read it or I watch it and it's like, oh, okay, that actually makes sense. Or it doesn't make sense, but it's so cool that I don't care. Like in Failsafe, where Batman somehow survives a fall from outer space to Earth. Could that happen? I doubt it. But I don't care. It was awesome. And when it's awesome, you'll suspend your disbelief, which is the only way you could read Failsafe and not think, how is this robot, who was designed to kill Batman, able to kill every member of the Justice League except Batman? But I digress. We see Alfred. He's like, got sort of like a DIY samurai outfit on or something. I don't know. And then we've got the Blask Mask concierge. As you can see, these guys are totally psycho. You'd have to be to follow some guy around whose favorite hobby is torture. And yeah, they look the part. They look pretty psycho. Now let's look at some of those old pages. Again, just great art. Big Batman holding something that kind of looks inappropriate. And here we see Alfred. It seems like maybe he's not up to no good. Maybe he just thinks the good he's doing won't be comfortable for Gotham. I don't know. It's hard to say. These things are taken out of context. We don't know what they're saying, what they're thinking, but we do know that it looks cool. And here's the moment that I think might get us all to forgive everyone involved for this strange logo and bizarre axe weapon. You're just gonna cut that guy's hand off. And then we see Batman's got some kind of weird thing going on with these wings that looks super unrealistic, but cool. It makes me think of those martial arts movies like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, where it looks really cool. The fighting, the choreography looks pretty good. So you're not like, how are they stair-stepping through the air like that? And this one's kind of funny. I hope this isn't in the comic. I mean, it's funny. Sometimes they have him looking really strong and fit. And then other times they've got him here looking like, I don't really know of a politically correct way to describe how he appears here to me. Just kind of sitting forlorn on the roof of some building after he's beating the crap out of a bunch of people. All right, so that's what we got so far. I mean, we're getting a lot of information. The thing's about to come out. Good luck finding a copy, unless you want to just buy the Kindle edition. I hate the idea of reading the thing on, well, I don't mind reading comics on my iPad. I kind of like it. But with something big like this, you kind of want to have it in your hands. But I'm not going to. I'm going to read it on my Kindle, and I'll tell you about it. Or you read it. Read your hard copy and tell me about it. Tell me about how the pages feel in your fingers. That's it for this time. If you liked this, I've got some other videos on Absolute Batman. I've got a video on Absolute Superman, Absolute Wonder Woman. And I'm just going to cover this thing, like pretend like I'm a little reporter and like the absolute universe is a real place and I live there and it's my job to tell the populace about what's going on. Like if you just need a quick summary, Wonder Woman is a witch from hell now and Superman seems really sad. All right, see you next time.